September 20th, 1944. General George Patton's 4th Armored Division has been fighting off a massive German offensive aimed at driving the Americans back across the Moselle River and stopping their advance towards Germany. The Germans throw hundreds of new Panzer IV and Panther tanks into the battle. But the Americans, with their fast and agile Shermans, inflict heavy losses. Believing the offensive has petered out, Patton orders the advance towards Germany to continue. The 37th Tank Battalion rolls out and heads east, leaving behind the Shermans of B Company, commanded by Captain Jimmy Leach.
I was to be the rear guard as they pushed on away from me. And suddenly, to my right, the Germans reappeared in spades in tanks again.
They're tanks of the 111th Panzer Brigade, responding to Patton's move east with a surprise attack on the American rear, just outside the village of Allacourt.
So I commenced a long-range firing, shooting at the Germans, and stalled them off a little bit. I ordered my exec and I both to dismount and go look over this hill. While I'm dismounted out in front of my own tank, up toward Moncourt on our right, a tank fired at my tank and missed it. I didn't have time to mount, so I motioned my tank to back up. There was a building nearby. And they fired a second round and they missed again. Why, I don't know, but Boggs, my driver, stopped. That was all the Germans needed. Now they got a steady target. And the third round went right through the right side of the tank, knocked the head off of my driver, Boggs, and cut Popovich, my bow gunner, in half. But at this point, Abrams engaged that tank that knocked me out. Well, he missed that damn tank, but he cut a furrow near it and the tank backed off and left. Abrams was well respected by every man in our division. I admired him for his strength and leadership abilities.
The bold and aggressive tactics of Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams will earn him a reputation as one of America's greatest tank commanders. While leading the 37th Tank Battalion, Abrams will become the #1 American tank ace of the Second World War.
He didn't lead the attack. He didn't do that. But he was among the group of tanks that were in the attack. He was one of them. He could have been knocked out just like any one of us.
By nightfall on September 20th, the Americans have repelled the German attack. But the Germans have taken Moncourt and pose a threat to the American flank. Abrams gathers his forces and with daylight fading plans a bold and risky move. He'll strike Moncourt when the Germans least expect it, in the dead of night. It goes against all the rules of tank warfare, but it works. Caught by surprise, the Germans are all but wiped out. With the bulk of the German forces destroyed, the Americans consolidate their front and begin mopping up.
We were retreating in the face of American advancing, and got into Morcel, small village to the south of Ludeville. Then late in the morning or early in the afternoon, they began to shoot fog into our field of fire. That, of course, meant that there was an attack taking place. and we started firing into the fog. There were 2 or 3 tanks that advanced on the road. One of the guys who had dug in let go with a Panzerfaust anti-tank grenade. I don't know how he could have missed. It was right next to the tank, but he missed. The tank made a left turn, buried him by pivoting the tank around the tank track, around the hole, and that was that. Then orders came through to retreat, and I did. I went down the embankment to the big farmhouse. Everybody had left. I was the only one that seems to have been left behind. I went around the corner of the building, looked down the main street, and here was an M4 tank, I'd say 50 feet away from me. That scared the hell out of me. It was bigger than an elephant, very menacing. And it seems that his gun was pointed at me. I just got scared. It was so big, I got scared. If I'd had a Panzerfaust, I could have picked that guy up like nothing. But I didn't have. All I had was a machine gun. I started running with the machine gun around my neck. That tank scared me. I still suffer from that scare.
By the end of the 4th day of fighting, the Americans have destroyed 2 entire panzer brigades. The Germans are on the run, but they're far from finished. Repeatedly beaten back by the tanks of the 37th Battalion at Allacourt, the Germans turn their sights northward. They target the town of Chateau Salin, now occupied by the 8th Tank Battalion of the 4th Armored Division.
We've been holding high ground, dominating ground, holding terrain. We were stabilized. This is an unusual situation for us. We were an offensive weapon. We were good on the offense. Now we were in the defense. They were probing. They were shooting artillery at us. But somehow we sensed that they were building up to something bigger. And sure enough, at first light, we looked out, and there was this big patch of woods, Chateau Salin, and out of the woods started coming tanks. We started firing everything we had at them. We fired the medium tanks, the tank destroyers, massive fire as they came out, so they knew immediately they were going to have a fight.